It is the literal, like literally final day of 2025. Like, we have arrived at the end. And I promised you guys a video discussing my 2026 plans. And I plan to have this video uploaded a while ago. Like, literally, I had planned to record the video the following week after I posted that video. But so much had happened. A lot of good, but a lot of my time was just taken up. But in that time, I had planned to tell you about the work I was going to start on Here Comes Love, which is one of the books that are going to be published next year. And it's done. Like, it's in editing. It's done. So it's the last day of 2025. I've already started the project. This is a perfect time for us to discuss my 2026 plans. So let's get into it. Hey, I'm Brooklyn Mosley, and I am a Black woman storyteller of over 50 plus titles. And today I want to talk to you about my 2026 plans. First of all, this year was interesting. It was a very, very interesting year. I celebrated my 10th anniversary as a self-published author. And I can definitely say that the writer I am today is not the writer I started as in 2015. I've learned a lot, I've grown a lot, and it's interesting that my direction for 2026 is very different. So we'll take a short trip down previous plans. And then we'll get into my 2026 plans. So typically, when I am making my plans for the new year, I map out all of the releases I'd like to have. Over the years, the releases would always be the smallest amount of release titles that I had planned in years past would be like about five books, whether it just be a mix of short stories and novellas and like a novel, right? And I would sit down during the final days of the year before the new year, and I would write out all of the titles that I would like to publish. And every year, for the most part, I would meet that goal. One year I had published like 7 titles, but to my credit, I guess you would say, it was a really tough year when I wrote all of those stories. So I was really needing to like keep my mind busy. And that was in 2019, which was like a year before the pandemic. So I had written a lot of stories in 2019, so I had published a lot of stories the following year. So for the most part, like I said, every year the amount of titles that I would publish would be at the very least would be about 5 titles. One year I only published 1 story, although that wasn't the plan, and that was the year I had my daughter. Which I think, I'm not the year I had my daughter, I'm sorry, it was the year after I'd had my daughter. So I was acclimating myself to being a mama of 2. And that was in 2021, so I only published 1 title, and that was my first, my last. So I'm saying all of that to say that usually when I plan for the new year, my titles, there's a lot of them, because my schedule is pretty, when I outline my stories, it's easy to follow. We can, if you're interested in learning about that or hearing me talk about that, just let me know, and I'll share my process. I'm going to be sharing my process with my my Brooklynite Daily subscribers, but we'll get into that a little later. Let's stay on topic. So for 2026, I am not publishing that many titles. I don't have it scheduled to publish that many titles, but I tend to be inspired and don't always stay on the publishing schedule that I create. So so far I only have plans to publish one story, and that's Here Comes Love. Here Comes Love is book 2 in the Parallel Love series, which is, that series is a spinoff of the novel Last Comes Love, and it follows Riley Daniels, post Lennox Walker. In another video, we'll talk about Last Comes Love, because that I have a lot to say about that story. But yes, Here Comes Love is the only title that I plan to publish widely in 2026. That does not include titles that I have planned for, serials that I have planned for my newsletter. But yeah, like, wide releases is going to just be one, and for a good reason. Like I had stated at the beginning of the video, and that I've been using as my intro, I have published, I really think it might be over 50 at this point, but I have published 50 plus titles in my 10-year writing journey, and those are a mix of novels, novellas, novelettes, short stories. And I would like to spend some time with my backlist, and I would like to give Here Comes Love the proper attention, and here's why. Here Comes Love is not only the conclusion of Riley Daniels' story, which, if you know me, you know that Riley Daniels is one of my favorite FNCs. But in addition to it being the conclusion of her story and her time in my book world, her series is the final open series in my catalog. So once I publish Here Comes Love, I will have no other series opened in my catalog. So I want to give that story the proper attention that it deserves, because it truly is a beautiful story, and I can't wait to tell you about it in another video. It is a bit different from my other stories in my catalog. Still the same themes, still a lot to learn, still the gems in it, still the love that just sits with you as you read from beginning to end. It's truly, and I'm not just saying that because I wrote it, but I'm also saying it because I wrote it because I know what I'm talking about. It is a truly beautiful story, and I feel like it deserves the proper attention. So that's one of the reasons that I don't have any other titles scheduled for next year. So currently, by the time that you see this video, I would have already done the cover reveal and announced the release day. So the release day is scheduled for February 19th, 2026. And yeah, we're going to be picking up with Riley and how she is coping. Parallel Love series, the purpose of that series is to show that love can exist alongside life's experiences. One of those experiences is grief and grieving, which is what Riley is doing in her series. So that, like I said, that Here Comes Love is book 2. So book 1 is Ready or Not. So if you haven't read her series yet, I would recommend that you start with Ready or Not. Last Comes Love is one of those stories that I am always a little hesitant with suggesting people read, because it is, it's not a romance, it's a love story. So if you read your stories looking for that happily ever after that is typical of romances, Last Comes Love is going to be a bit tough for you. So, but if you wanted to get the full emotional context of a parallel love series, I would highly recommend that you read Last Comes Love. Okay, so with that said, with Here Comes Love being the only story that I have planned for 2026, it's giving me an opportunity to, one, spend some time with my backlist, because there's a lot of stories that people have not heard of yet that I think that they'll absolutely love. Me only focusing on one title released this year is allowing me to spend time on my next project, which is going to be the expansive Love is Cure Volume 2 When I completed Love is Cure Volume 1, Vices and Virtues, I had always indicated that it would, like, this was just one volume and there's going to be another volume that I'm going to be working on. The first volume of Love is Cure focuses on pairing the vices with their virtues, so like the sinners with the saints. And volume 2 is going to have a similar theme of of opposites attracting. However, it's not going to be rooted in the 7 deadly sins. It's going to be a little more how do I say it without, so like I said, it's opposites attracting, but whereas with the Love is Cure Volume 1, each story was a standalone and there were characters who made appearances in everybody's story. You know, the characters were all connected. The characters in Volume 2 are going to be connected. However, their stories are going to be like planets orbiting the main series plot. So I can't wait to talk more about that. It's in development. My Brookelyn Daily subscribers are going to be coming along with me on the journey to developing this series from start to finish, meaning they're going to see my process, everything from brainstorming the ideas, although I'm not going to share the ideas because I don't want to give away the stories, right? But mostly seeing my process, seeing what goes into creating a series, and a series this large, which is going to be at least 8 books. It's going to be either 8 to 12 books, but it's going to be at least 8 books, which makes it my biggest series in my catalog. So it's going to span a few years, but I'm really excited for it because the idea is so good. It's something I'm so excited for, which I think is really important when you are creating something, when you're creating anything, because creating takes a certain level of energy and focus and attention. And with this type of series, I'm going to be spending a certain amount of time with it. So I'm going to need to be excited about it. And I am excited about it. It is that kind of series. And yeah, so that's pretty much it, honestly. Here Comes Love, which is book 2 in a parallel love series, and working on and developing the Love is Cure Volume 2 series, and my backlist. And I'm going to use this platform to also share insights on my backlist and to share my backlist, because I really have written some good books. Okay, there's a lot of good books in my catalog, and it's a little something for everybody. So yeah, I'm excited for 2026. 2025 was very challenging. Like, creating stories in 2025 was challenging, and I feel like that's one of the reasons I kind of want to not take a pause, but take a slight step back with production. And only because I'd like to focus on, like I said, Here Comes Love. I'd like to focus on this new series I'm developing, Love is Cure Volume 2. And I really have fallen in love with my premium newsletter, Brookelyn Daily. It is like a subworld in my book world, and it has given a lot of the stories legs, you know. So I would like to give all of those projects and my previous books the attention that they deserve. And that means, I can't even say that it's producing less. It just means redirecting my focus, you know? So yeah, my 2026 plans are very laid back this coming year. Yeah, so I can't wait to tell you more about Here Comes Love. Here Comes Love is really one of those stories that I enjoyed returning to add chapters to. And as I'm doing the read through and as I'm going over the edits, this story is really something. Okay, so I will be back to talk more about Here Comes Love. If you've not heard of Last Comes Love, we are going to start there. I'm going to tell you a little more about Last Comes Love, because without Last Comes Love, there could not be a Parallel Love series. There could not be Ready or Not, and there most definitely could not have been Here Comes Love. Okay, so thank you so much for rocking with me this year. I made a goal. One of my goals for 2025 was to breathe life into this channel, because I've had this channel not for 10 years, but for quite a while. And I've used it to post trailers, yeah, mostly trailers. And I've had at least one talking head video where I was talking about one of my books. So I wanted to use this platform to bring you a little bit more into my process and what I do as a self-published author of Black romance. And my goal was to post more videos on YouTube, and I did that. So goal accomplished, and thank you so much for assisting with me doing that. So if you are not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so you can continue on with this journey with me. Like this video, leave a comment, let me know how I did this year. Did I offer a little more insight into me as a Black romance author? And also let me know, what do you want to see in the new year? I'm open to suggestions and I'm very, very grateful in advance. So thank you as always, and I look forward to seeing you in 2026. Things I'm grateful for in 2025, because you got to end things on a good note. Everybody can agree that this year was very challenging, but it's good to see the good in things. So I'm grateful for my readers who continue to support me this year through DMs and emails and comments. It was such a blessing, and I loved it. It came at the right time. Like, I promise you, every single time I got a message, every time I got an email, it always came at the right time, because this year was very tough getting in front of my computer. Getting in front of my computer and writing was tough. By the time I got in front of my computer, though, I found the strength, and I was like, this is why I do what I do. So I will say that, but it was definitely tough. Being bombarded by a lot of news and information and stuff like that. So I'm grateful for my readers. I'm grateful for this love that I have for creating, period. Anything that I'm creating, I'm in my happy place. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my family, my husband, my children. I'm grateful for my health. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for my health. I'm grateful for... Did I say my growth? I'm grateful for my growth. I grew a lot this year, and I'm grateful for the clarity that I gained this year, because there was so much that I learned, and so much that I'm like, the treasures of knowledge that I'm going to take with me forever, for sure. I'm grateful for God's grace and guidance, because I tell you, prayer carried me this year. Carried. What else am I grateful for? I'm grateful for so much. I'm grateful to see another year to completion. I am grateful. I'm just grateful. I'm very thankful. I'm grateful for you. So I hope that this year was good to you in some way. Even in the toughest things, there's one thing that you can pull from about it being good. So let's go into this new year with healthy hearts and crystal clear clarity, so that we can make the year good to us, and we can stay open to be of help to each other, because that's what community is. I'll see you in 2026.